Good morning. This is the Blaine's World webcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify or podcast. You get more information and listen to previous shows on our website, which is behind me, blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, here in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. Each week, we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Robyn Ziegler, founder and owner of Connected Kitchens, for being my guest today. Robyn, feel free to wave to all your fans and friends who are watching this.
Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
And that's the same Robyn Ziegler that we all got to know and love when she was in Buncombe County. And every day I think about how we miss you, Robyn. But you mentioned that you're a high-end private chef, culinary consultant, and founder and owner of Connected Kitchens. Many of you know her as Ziggy, the former owner of Asheville's beloved, and it was beloved, Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. Now residing in Phoenix, Arizona, Robyn is curating intimate, chef-driven dining experiences for luxury clients and athletes. And Robyn, first of all, I have to ask you, are you still called Ziggy, or can you call you Ziggy? Or you gotten away from that?
Well, I did have to take a little bit of a break, but I let all of my Asheville people still call me Ziggy. But I go as Robin out here.
Okay, so I'll have to remind you, but you were Ziggy to me. And
Absolutely.
congratulations on move out to Arizona. But before we talk about that, let me ask you a little bit. So, in terms of your background, I've spoken to you before, but if you would just kind of recap it. As a child, you grew up in, was it Bucks County? Did you grow up in?
Yes. Yes, Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Yep.
Okay. And so as a child growing up in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, did you always know you wanted to be in the food industry?
I did. I instantly took a liking to food the minute I could hold a butter knife.
Really?
So I was making my own school lunches, and my dad taught me how to make pancakes in third grade, and it was pretty much history from there. I was watching shows like Chopped and Top Chef, and it was almost as if I I had the pleasure of getting into a creative space every time I opened the fridge, and that was my mystery box. So I had a lot of fun just being creative as a kid and really had a drive for food.
By the way, the bad thing about having you on the show now is even just listening to you, I'm getting hungry. And then I told you before the show was on, I was watching some of your shows, some of your clips on Facebook, and they're really cool. And you really get into cooking. Do you remember the first time you ever got paid to cook?
Ooh, let's see. I would say that that was a friend's graduation party at CB East High School. I I did a buffet, a taco spread for his graduation party. So I think I was about 19 years old when that happened.
That's the first time. And how many people were at this party?
Probably 30 to 50.
Oh, really? Wow. And this was all by yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Now, you also then, on top of doing this on your own, you also studied, right, culinary arts in school, did you?
Yes, I did. I went to Johnson and Wales University in Providence, Rhode Island. I spent 4 years there. I got my culinary associates and I got a bachelor's in food service management with a concentration in wellness and sustainability.
And, I know the school well, and that my daughter went there as well, but not for culinary arts. But that's what they're really well known for, the culinary arts program, right? And to the extent they
Yes.
not only have it in Providence, there are other branches as well.
There are actually, there were four total campuses. It was Denver, Miami,
Right.
Charlotte. They closed in 2022, I believe, 2021. They closed the Denver and Miami campuses, but Charlotte and Rhode Island are still open.
Okay. So that must have been some program to study in college. Reminds me when my daughter was in high school, she took a cooking course and she loved it. And everybody else loved her too because she was always making food for other people. So I guess that was one way to become popular. You're always cooking for other people.
Oh, yes. And there was a great thrill and just bringing joy and getting the smiles out of everyone and the collective camaraderie when you come around food as a community. And it can really fuel the soul, that's for sure.
And then listening to you and knowing a little bit about you, it's kind of interesting. So you don't restrict your cooking to any one style. You'll do a lot of different stuff.
Yes, I have multiple different cuisines that I like to cook. I'd say my top four right now are Italian, Mediterranean, Asian, and classic steakhouse style seafood American.
I like that top four. I can't believe you have more. So trace it, if you would, then you're at Johnson Wales, Providence, Rhode Island. How would you eventually
Mhm.
wind up in the Asheville area?
Yes, so my job at a culinary school was to work at the Biltmore,
Okay.
and I had never been to Asheville before. The Biltmore group was at one of the career fairs on campus. And so I landed an interview with the HR department and I was hired to work at the bistro restaurant. So after graduation, I took a leap of faith and moved from Rhode Island, made a pit stop in Philadelphia to say hi to family. And then I moved to Asheville, North Carolina and started my career.
And so
So
at the time, did you know anybody in Nashville?
I did not.
Wow, that was a risky venture. And so
Yeah.
you were with Biltmore. How long were you with them?
I was with them for about a year and a half.
Okay. And doing what? All sorts of different stuff?
So I did different stuff as far as the services that I worked. So I would still cook on the line in the kitchen. But I was doing in the bistro, they have that big open
Right,
kitchen right in the
right.
center. I was alternating between the lunch service and the dinner service. So had a lot of great fun there, a lot of great experience. Um, and then yeah, I left about I believe it was September 2015 after I graduated in 2014.
Is that when you started your own restaurant?
No, I actually went to the Marketplace restaurant
Okay.
on Wall Street that's owned by Chef William Disson. I went and I worked for him for just under 4 years.
Oh, really? Okay. And
Mhm.
so I guess I didn't know you then, but I met you, I guess, when you started, then that's when you started Ziggy's?
Yes, I left the Marketplace restaurant to open up Ziggy's with Josh. Yes.
Okay. And one of the great names, I just love that name. Um, how did you come up with the name Ziggy's? Was that a nickname when you were in school or as a kid?
It was. So I inherited that nickname from my dad and my grandpa. It was their nicknames playing sports. So all through my travel softball career and even college softball, any sport that I played, I definitely had that nickname. So I kept it.
But you told me off the air. Now I have to kind of remember I should address you as Robyn or Ms. Robyn as opposed to Ziggy's. In Arizona, they don't know, in Arizona they don't know you as Ziggy.
They don't know me as Ziggy. I think that I needed mentally, I needed a little bit of a break. Um,
And
but
talk,
no, I'm just embracing yeah, just finding my new path, and obviously that name will go down in history, and I'm more than happy for anyone to call me Ziggy still. I have a
and
lot of
before,
friends that still call me Ziggy.
and before you talk about your new path, though, you still have to reminisce a little bit with you at Ziggy's because,
Oh
as you
yeah,
know, it was like my all-time favorite place in Asheville. And
thank you.
anytime I pass by, I still miss you. I say, boy, I love to have a cheesesteak. But what gave you the idea of starting Ziggy's? And then I'll have to have you share the one secret you always told me why it was so good. But what gave you the idea of starting Ziggy's?
Well, and I do have to say, I also miss my food. I miss that cheesesteak. I think I've only made myself two cheesesteaks since I closed.
Well, since you mentioned it, I'll ask you
So
the secret you told me, and I assume it was the secret or the success. It was such a great cheesesteak for one reason, and you always told me the rolls were the key to the cheesesteak. Was that it?
yes, I believe there's two reasons. I think one is definitely the roll, which we did import from Amoroso Bakery in Philadelphia.
Right.
So that was the only bread that we didn't make to support the deli. And because it just has that beautiful chew and it just perfectly wraps around the meat and the cheese, just like the ultimate Italian hoagie that you would want back in Philly. So we went for that roll. And yes, so the roll, in my opinion, number one, the roll. And then two is the cut of beef and making sure that you season it well. I think that a lot of times we find cheesesteaks on the market that are under seasoned or not a good quality of beef. So I made sure to fulfill both of those areas.
I have to tell you, Robin, my mouth is watering as you talk about it. Because as you said, I'll get cheesesteaks occasionally at other places in Buncombe County, but nothing is, they're okay, but yours is just spectacular. Was that what you sold most of at that place?
I would say it actually, the turkey sandwich also gave it a run for its money. There are a lot of lovers of that turkey sandwich we had.
I don't know if I ever had that. Sorry, I missed it. So
Oh, that's okay.
you did that for 4 years. Um, what was that like running that place for 4+ years?
It was a challenge. It was exciting. It was a huge learning curve in my career. And it definitely was a very memorable place for me. Not only was it my first restaurant, but it also really solidified my journey in my trajectory of where I am today. So I respect everything that that restaurant provided for me. I love and miss all of my customers that were so loyal to us. And I love hearing them reach out to me, even to today, sending me messages saying, "Hey, drove by your old place. I miss it. Thinking of you." Or I'll come up on a thread when people in Asheville are talking about food, and it's like, "Where's the best cheesesteak?" "Oh, we miss Ziggy's," and that literally happened two nights ago.
I'm telling you, as you're talking about it, it's not supposed to be a fan letter or a fan show about you, Robin, but every time we talk about it, I think about it often. But the other thing you did, which was so great about that place, it was like a fun place to go to, it's like, it was always like you had a great smile, your enthusiasm, your staff was great too. You had a good time when you went there. And I also loved it on nice days, you go outside. It was a beautiful setting and the long tables. That was always something to look forward to. So
Thank you.
I haven't replicated it in Asheville yet, but maybe we'll do that in Arizona. But let's talk about, so all of a sudden, after not all of a sudden, but after 4+ years, you decide to pack up. What was that all about?
Yes. So the having the restaurant was challenging. So from the beginning, honestly. So we opened December 2018, actually December 1st, 2018, because that was on my 27th birthday. And it was a fantastic start, very exciting. And unfortunately, about 9 months later, and I'm not sure if you were around as a customer at that time, but about 9 months after we opened, I was violently thrown from a horse and I broke some ribs. And that was very challenging for me. I lost a lot of confidence in myself. And I was immediately right back at that register about 4 days later and still doing what I could to keep the business going. And then we were hit with the pandemic. And then making it through the pandemic that year of doing takeout and curbside orders only. Thankfully, we made it through that with the help of the PPP loans and some of the nice folks in our community sharing their stimulus with us to make sure we stayed afloat. So I want to thank all of them as well. And at the same time, after all of that, it just, the resilience was there and I kept going and I kept pushing. Unfortunately, the relationship between Josh and I had ended. And then I became I went into a dark spot. I became very depressed. And I always felt this sense of not being able to feel a proudness with the restaurant because unfortunately, my parents also never got to come and visit the
Oh,
restaurant and
really?
see it because I lost my parents, both of them at an early age. Um, and so I never felt proud of the restaurant, which seems probably a little crazy for you to hear,
Yeah.
considering how excited I was and how fun it was for me, and just the level of love I shared and with my customers. But it became a like four walls with chains, and I felt trapped, and I was depressed. I was drinking a lot, and I realized that I needed to wake up and figure something out. Otherwise, I was going to become an alcoholic or something worse because I got in a really dark space. And so felt like everything was blowing up. Lost someone who I believed was the love of my life and just dealing with that, dealing with the grief. And so I decided I was serving everybody else, but I wasn't taking care of myself.
Good point. Yeah.
And so I decided to put my foot down and I said, I need to close these doors as much as I don't want to. And I really loved it. I needed to close the doors to get healthy and take care of myself for once. And
Probably,
I gotta say that that's probably the best decision and the hardest decision I've made in my life.
probably a compliment to you is that as you're telling this, I had a vague recollection of some of that, but it never showed when I came to your place, and the food never changed the quality of it, the friendliness of the staff, it's just always a good feeling,
Thank you.
and I always knew you had to get there. I knew I had to get there before 12 o'clock because it would get really crowded when you open. So I'd have to get there. I'd always meet people 11:45, right? Open at 12, I think. Was that it?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
knew
Yeah, we opened at 8. Yeah.
but
Mhm.
I knew it was going to be crowded, so I had to get there early.
Yes.
So that's my loss until I get out to see you in Arizona. But you then close the restaurant when?
I closed the restaurant May 14th of 2022.
Okay, wow. Seems like it was yesterday, or
I
again,
know.
but that is that something how powerful the memories are in my end that I just remember it so well. And like you said, told everybody in the world that, you were the place to go. So 2022, closed the place down. What happened after that then?
So I definitely decided to take some time to myself. So I had fun. I went on a whole uh, traveling tour and concert tour. So I went to a lot of concerts and a lot of music festivals. And I did all the things that I didn't do for the previous four
Right.
years because I was so busy with the restaurant. So yeah, it was so much fun that year. And I even went to Italy for a month. I extended for an extra time and spent it in Switzerland, which was really cool having being a chef over there and getting to have all of that food. It was great. And then I did some restaurant consulting. So there was a friend of mine who was going to open a bagel place in Florida. So I was helping them get an understanding for their operations. And so I did consulting work with them. I did some work for La Rumba, right there off of Swannanoa River Road and the Latin restaurant. Um, and then I just kept looking at Indeed and I was searching for other ways to make revenue. And a lot of people kept saying, "Oh, you should be a private chef." And I wasn't really sure about it. And then sure enough, the Biltmore posted a job for a private chef. And I decided to go through with the interview process. And the interview process was 4 interviews. And one of those interviews was actually me cooking for the executive chef
Right.
of the entire Biltmore estate, Chef DeMarco, and then a few of the other managers. And so I had to do a couple courses and I had to pass this test in order to be a private chef for the family. And then lo and behold, I got hired for the position and it was a total full circle moment. It was, my 10-year anniversary of living in Asheville. And I'm like, and now I'm going back where I started.
So how long would you do that for?
So I just under a year actually.
Because that must have been pretty cool. So you worked for the Biltmore, you worked
Mhm.
at some of the restaurants, and that's compliment to you to come back to get hired by to be this chef, and that must have been quite an experience. Um,
Yes.
so it's something else you've never done. So that brings you back into 2024, 23, whatever. What got you to Arizona?
So when I was working for the Vanderbilt family, the Sussels, um, I it definitely was a wonderful dream job to some. A lot of people thought I was crazy for wanting to leave, but I just felt that there was so much more potential for my growth, not only financially, but also in my career and in my life and spiritually. And so I felt that I lived a lot of life in Asheville. Ever since I closed Ziggy's, I wanted to leave, I wanted to move, but I didn't know where to go. I considered Florida, I considered going back home up north, I considered South Carolina, and then I landed on Scottsdale. in Phoenix area because I came out here for a retreat back in October a year ago. Came out here for a weekend retreat and I fell in love with the area, fell in love with the vibrance, and I felt called to start my life out here and a new journey. So yeah, it was just a lot of life lived in Asheville, and I definitely was ready for a change of pace.
And hopefully we want to have the same thing now in Arizona, another life in Arizona, another hopefully 10 years or more. So what got you to then coming to Arizona and starting then another business?
Yes, so my goal when I moved out here was I understood that there was a massive market for private chefs because Scottsdale itself is one of the top cities in the country for new millionaires moving there to Scottsdale area. So I knew that there was a big demographic for high ticket, high level clientele. And so I decided to start my own private chef business. So that way I could um, run my own company, set my own pricing, and uh, really be as creative and as selective as I wanted to for the type of clients that I was working for.
So talk about what then a private chef does.
Yeah, so a private chef goes into somebody's home and prepares a dining experience and a meal and serves it to them and their guests. And it's just a level of luxury and it's a very thoughtful process. And I also love the creative aspect that I get to really flex on my culinary skills with different ingredients and different combinations and the type of cuisines that I'm making. But it also is a service. It's a service-based um, job for the clients. And so I'm providing them an experience which really does touch them as well. It really brings them together, makes it a very centric experience with the camaraderie. And I basically get to tell my story through the food. So I also enjoy that as well.
Now, by the way, Robyn, let me just jump in here a second. If you're watching this, your audio is coming across fine. We're kind of locked in with the picture.
Oh,
Welcome back. You're listening to the Blaine's World webcast, and speaking with a friend of mine, Robyn Ziegler, and we had some technical difficulties. Robyn, I hope we can get by this, okay? And if not, we'll go from
yes,
there.
hopefully.
Okay. Anyway, Robyn, you were telling me about so the job of a private chef, you've done that in Arizona, but your business now, Connected Kitchen, it does a lot more than just provide private chef services. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. So Connected Kitchens, I started in May 2025. So it was actually almost 3 years after closing Ziggy's that I began this new venture. And I offer in-home private chef dinners or events. And then I also provide individualized meal prep for entrepreneurs and high level performers, including athletes. And then I also am building a culinary coaching program.
Very exciting. By the way, I wish I had known this back when you were in Buncombe County because I didn't realize I could have hired you to for a party and you would make cheesesteaks for everybody, you know. And by the way, have you ever done that? Has ever anybody ever hired you to make cheesesteaks?
That's funny you say that because the Sussel family wanted me to do that, but then I was leaving.
Oh, yeah, because well, Greenfield family would have you do it if you ever decide to come back. So
Okay.
very exciting though, because two things you're doing, which is kind of exciting. So you mentioned just now you're providing individualized instruction for people. Is that what you were saying?
Oh, so individual meal prep. So customized meal prep for folks that want me to take care of cooking for them. So what
We're
I
there. Deliver it to us. So what does that entail?
um so I will cook, I'll buy the groceries, I'll prep and cook all of the food, and then I portion it and I package it up and then I deliver it to my clients. Or I go to their kitchens in their home and I spend a day there doing a cooking session and I make their meals for the week. So it's basically ready to eat meals that are going to be in their fridge anywhere from 10 to 15 meals for the week.
Very cool. And they get to choose the meals they want?
Yes. Now, I don't have a set lineup, say a roster. I don't have a roster of recipes. Every single client of mine is basically we go through a discovery call. So they're very unique and I see them all differently. So I want to learn what their palate is. What type of food do they want to eat? Do they like organics? Do they like grass-fed meats? Do they like really heavy sauces and rich food? Do they want something on the leaner and cleaner side? So I go through an entire questionnaire with them, and I also ask about their dietary restrictions and their allergies, as I am well versed in those as well. And even if they want their macros counted, so your protein, how many carbs, and your fats. So I will go through this questionnaire with my client, and then I will start to learn their palate, and I will build recipes and build menus based off of their information, their
Now,
likes, their dislikes, their preferences.
I assume that's Arizona based. Do you deliver the stuff at all?
I do, yes. So I typically have clients that are between 20 and 30 minutes within my area. I live in North Phoenix, and so I will do meal prep. Most of my clients are in Scottsdale, so that's about 20 minutes away from me.
Can any of your stuff be shipped?
Not as of right now. Not I'm not set up for that.
No, because you're laughing at it, but we were using some, I forget the name of the company, but we're using them and Cynthia loved them, but they've stopped shipping. It's such a shame
Oh,
because she just loved the service and she loved the meats and it's just a great deal. So now I'd have to come out to Arizona to get some of your good cooking. Is that correct?
yeah, that would be correct. It's just myself. I don't have any employees. So I'm not to that level of being able to do a mass production like that. Um, and I'd have to, yes. So I'm not there yet.
Well, in a way, that's kind of nice, though. I don't know how you feel, though, but just being your own boss, do you like that as opposed to having to deal with, 27 other people?
Yes, I do enjoy being my own boss and just being a single entrepreneur here. It's very rewarding and definitely can make my own hours. I have my set rate. I know what my overhead is every time, so it makes it very seamless.
And nice thing, too, you mentioned the overhead, just buying enough stuff for what you need and knowing it's going to be used as opposed to, in a restaurant, that's probably one of the biggest challenges, to buy food and then bad weather comes in or something comes in to stop that. What's the
Right.
biggest party, at least in Arizona, what's the biggest party you've done so far?
I did let's see, probably 50-person buffet at this place that I'm actually a member at. It's called Club Scottsdale. And so I did about, yeah, I'd say 40 to 50 people did a dinner. It was a Mediterranean bowls, um, chicken and salad, basically build your own bowls. So that would be my largest to date. And then on average, every other week for this club, I provide food for about 25 members when we have our um, biweekly social.
Very exciting. So you're the cook for that? You,
Yes,
you,
so I
you,
do those events for the club. And then as a member, it's a really cool community. So everyone who's a member is a high level entrepreneur or a business owner. So it's actually my ideal clientele for the
right?
individualized meal prep. So a lot of them are hiring me to do their meal prep or cook for them for a private dinner or cook for their events.
And you mentioned also you have some athletes as clients as well.
Yes, I did. When I first moved out here, my first dinner was a six-course Italian meal for a one of the pitchers of the Seattle Mariners.
Very exciting.
So that was cool. Yeah.
Also, you're doing something else, I think, and I'll give you a compliment about it. But I noticed on Facebook, you're also sharing hacks. And talk about that because I love watching them. And are you doing that on other social media or just on Facebook?
I'm doing it on my two social medias, which is Facebook and Instagram. And so what that is the meal hacks that I'm posting are part of my mission for Connected Kitchens. And so, Connected Kitchens is about getting better connected to your kitchen to facilitate your own meal prep. A major pain point with home cooks is that they don't have the time, they don't want to do the dishes, they have decision fatigue, they just don't have the confidence or the skill set that allows them to get excited about cooking in their own kitchen. And so, because of that, I'm trying to develop a coaching program for individuals that want to better their skill set and their mindset when in their kitchens. That way, they can execute their own meal prep and provide for themselves and their families. So the hacks are my way of figuring out, after my years of being a private chef and all of the tricks that I learned while cooking for the Vanderbilt family, actually, because for the husband, I was making 21 extra meals a week for him and his bodybuilding. And so I had to have a lot of recipes and figure out how to do all of that work while also serving them 1 to 2 meals a day as well. So I have discovered a bunch of hacks that really limit the amount of time that you're in your kitchen. And I want to help people get better connected to their kitchen, because not only is it the most communal, space-centric room of the household, but it's also where you are spending the most amount of money. So you think about, you're spending money on water and electric and gas. You're spending money on the groceries. You're spending money on the food waste for when you throw out food after it spoils in your fridge. And you're spending money all the way to the point of having decision fatigue and ordering out. So what a lot of people I don't believe a lot of people really realize is how much money that one room in your house spends unconsciously, this budget. And so I want to help all of those pain points. And I really want to bring people back to have that level of awareness and that connection to their kitchen so they can feel enthusiastic and feel empowered to do their own cooking.
And best to actually see these, Robyn. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you can, give an example of then a hack that you just talked about.
Yeah. So I was like, one hack. I got two favorites right now.
Okay.
So one of my favorite hacks is actually just buying a rice cooker. You can cook up to 10 cups of rice, depending on the size of the rice cooker. One that's about the size of an air fryer or a pressure cooker on your stove. If you buy a rice cooker, you can get up to 10 cups of rice, and that will take you probably an hour's worth of work, but it doesn't even feel like work. So all you have to do is soak the rice for 30 minutes, strain it, and then put the rice into the container, into the bowl, fill it up to the water line. Is a certain number, and it tells you. It's very simple. The same number of cups that you use to measure the rice is the same number that you fill the water line to, so you never mess up the ratio. And then you close the lid and you press a button. And you can literally leave it and go do something else. It also keeps the rice warm for up to 8 hours. So it's one of the best hacks that I've found, because as you're portioning out your meals, you can get 8 to 10 portions of cooked rice for those meals.
And by the way, if folks want to see either that hack or some other hack, how do they find them?
Yes, so they can go to my Facebook page, Robyn V. Ziegler, or my Instagram.
And what's your Instagram page?
It is at Robyn, ROBYN .V as in Victoria .Ziegler, Ziegler.
And thanks for sharing that, because one of the annoying things I find with Instagram is a lot of times you can't even look up the person's name. You have to know, what they call themselves. Facebook, you put your name in, but Instagram, a
Right.
lot of people don't give their names, which doesn't make any sense. So those come out how often?
So as I'm trying to get better at it, posting content. So I am just probably putting out content once a day, if not 3 times a week.
Okay. Very, very well done, by the way. I encourage people to sign up for it. Do you see yourself, by the way, with all the good stuff you're doing, do you see yourself ever doing a podcast as well?
I would love to. Honestly, I really would love to one day.
Okay. Well, no, I'd encourage you to because you're just so enthusiastic and so much fun. But you've got the best hack of all, Robin, as you're listening. And it would be just if it were me or you were still in Buncombe County, it would just be to call Robin, and put your phone number
Yeah.
down. Forgetting all this preparation stuff and cleaning up stuff, you'll help them. Can you help
Yes.
people? Lastly, I'll ask you about helping people. Can it be done virtually? Can you do this, helping people like we're talking?
Yes, absolutely. I start out the clients with having a discovery call, so a Zoom call like we're having, and then I will, and then we'll just basically build out a program from there. And yes, we can do it virtually, or I can also offer call support, so you can text me or call me also. Especially if you're in the middle of a crisis or a recipe fail, I can hopefully help you save the day.
If people want to track you down, what's the best bet?
Through my social medias, especially the Instagram, I'm on that a lot. And then also my website, it's www.myconnectedkitchens.com.
And I guess lastly, where do you see this going from here, Robin? So you moved out to Arizona, haven't been there that long. Where do you see this whole thing going?
Yeah, so that's also to be discovered. But my ultimate vision is to help as many people as possible get better connected to their kitchen. And I am definitely a spiritual and um, I believe in manifestation. So I'm also really excited to possibly have a journey beyond this in helping people heal from their past traumas or in any hardships in their life, as I have had to do. And it's called a lot of resilience and a lot of work. So I'm definitely interested in personal work and personal development, helping inspire people.
And again, a compliment to you. I just love the name Connected Kitchen because it kind of really describes what you're all about. So
Yeah.
anyway, thank you for being my guest on this edition of the Blaine's World webcast. I also like to thank my producer, Cappy Setti. And Robin, hopefully, if you ever, do you ever see yourself coming back to Asheville? Just visiting?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I do hope to visit. I want to visit the Sussel family. They were absolutely wonderful to me.
Yes.
My great friends in West Asheville, Mark and Alexa, and my best friend Sammy Williams and Swananoa. And I definitely have a core group of family back there in Asheville after 10 years.
Okay, we
So.
should mention one other person you mentioned to me off the air. You said the guy at the wine place next to you, was it?
Oh yes, that was table wine next to the old Ziggy's shop. So yes, Josh Sperling.
Okay.
He definitely reminisces about Ziggy's and he misses having me as a neighbor.
Oh, I bet. Anyway, Robin, thanks for being my guest. It's always a pleasure, and hopefully we'll bump into each other sometime down the road. You be well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Blaine. Take care.